The sun was dipping low, casting long shadows across the quiet suburban street, when a sudden, piercing cry sliced through the air. A little girl, no more than 5 or 6, burst from between two parked cars, her tiny legs pumping as fast as they could carry her, her face streaked with tears and dust. She wasn't just crying, she was terrified, stumbling forward with the raw desperation of someone running from something she couldn't outrun. And behind her, idling on the corner like immovable statues of leather and chrome, sat a group of bikers who had stopped for a break during their weekend charity ride. Everything changed the moment the girl looked up at them, pointed back toward the street she came from, and sobbed, "He's coming!" If you believe in kindness, courage, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to life. At first, the bikers were stunned. These were men who'd seen plenty in life: pain, hardship, the kind of darkness that leaves a scar on the soul. But nothing quite shook them like seeing a terrified child begging for help. Their leader, a broad-shouldered man with a weathered face and ink winding down his arms, lowered himself to her eye level, trying to make sense of her gasps. Though she could barely speak between sobs, her fear was unmistakable. Something, or someone, had scared her enough to send her running blindly toward the only people she saw. As she tried to catch her breath, the bikers noticed the tremor in her hands, the way her little fingers clutched at the air, as if searching for someone to hold on to. She had on a simple red dress, dusty at the hem, and her hair was tangled as though she'd been hiding or wrestling free from someone's grip. One of the bikers reached into his vest pocket and gently offered her his water bottle, the kind gesture seeming out of place beside his intimidating appearance. She took it with shaking hands, managing only a sip before. Whispering the words that made every man go still, "He's coming back. Please, don't let him find me." The leader exchanged glances with his brothers, their expressions hardening with a seriousness that settled deep in their bones. Whatever happened wasn't small. Whatever, or whoever, she was running from, these men weren't about to sit still and let it happen. They didn't wear their leather and patches for show. They wore them because they knew what loyalty meant, what protection meant. And in that moment, every single one of them silently agreed that this small, trembling child was now under their protection. The little girl tried to explain in broken pieces, the yelling, the smashing sound, the way she hid under the back porch when things got bad. She spoke about how her mom had told her to run if she ever felt unsafe, and today, her mother's panicked shove and whispered "go" sent her bolting through the neighborhood. She didn't know where else to go. Only that she saw the bikers first and hoped they could keep her safe. Her innocence mixed with terror created a weight that pressed heavily on the men listening. One biker clenched his jaw so tightly his muscles twitched. Another balled his hands into fists before forcing himself to breathe. These weren't men who ran from trouble. They ran toward it, especially when someone vulnerable needed them. They asked no permission. They needed no further details. When they heard a distant slam or shout echo faintly through the neighborhood, something inside them snapped into action. The leader rose to his feet, motioning for the smallest one of the group, a gentle giant whose nickname was Bear, to stay with the child. The rest of the bikers mounted their motorcycles, and engines roared like unleashed thunder. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains as the powerful machines rolled down the street, a fierce wall of chrome and determination heading straight toward the danger the girl had fled from. They didn't know what they were walking into, but they knew why they were going, and that was enough. When they reached the house, the scene was worse than they expected. The front door hung crookedly from its hinges, as though someone had kicked or slammed it open repeatedly. From inside, angry footsteps paced across the floor, along with incoherent shouting. The bikers didn't hesitate. They approached the home with a sergeant's precision, spreading out, checking windows, pushing the shattered door aside. They found the man inside, red-faced, unsteady, enraged, shouting the name of the little girl as if she were prey rather than a child. His rage froze the moment he realized he was no longer alone. What happened next wasn't chaos, it was control. The bikers didn't hurt him. They weren't vigilantes looking for trouble. They restrained him, calmed him, kept him from causing further harm while one of them called the authorities. When the police arrived, they were surprised to see what looked like a small army of bikers sitting calmly on the lawn, keeping the situation under control, ensuring safety for everyone, including the man who had lost control of his anger. Meanwhile, Bear had stayed with the girl, comforting her in the way only someone truly gentle could. He let her sit on the curb beside him, handed her his gloves to play with, and kept her distracted while the others handled the danger. When the situation was finally resolved and her mother, a trembling but relieved woman, was escorted safely from the house to reunite with her daughter, the little girl let out a cry of pure relief. She ran to her mother, clinging to her with the kind of desperate love only a child in fear can give. The bikers stepped back, giving them space but staying long enough to ensure they were truly safe. And as the sun finally dipped below the horizon, leaving behind the warm hum of motorcycles and grateful sobs, something changed not just in the family they'd helped, but in the hearts of the men who rode away. They had come there as a group of bikers taking a break from a charity ride. They left as heroes the neighborhood would never forget. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Before the ending, comment below, what would you have done if you were in the biker's place? In the end, the little girl's courage to run and the biker's willingness to stand up for a stranger created a moment of humanity that reminded everyone watching that kindness still exists in unexpected places, and sometimes the roughest-looking people carry the gentlest souls.